So there's a single rule that when broken is quietly destroying millions in back-end revenue for home improvement companies. And it's not about your leads, and it's also not about your marketing. What it's actually about is what happens to the lead after it's captured, and the rule is simpler than you think. It's called the 72-hour rule, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why following it can double your close rates almost overnight. And honestly, in my opinion, it's one of the lowest hanging fruits that you can grab if you're serious about tightening up your sales systems. So here's the problem that most companies are having that they don't even realize. You're spending all of this money on lead generation, right? Google ads, Facebook, TV, events, it doesn't necessarily matter where the leads are coming from. But when those leads do come in, instead of getting them seen today, tomorrow, or the next day, they're actually being scheduled in 5, 7, or in some cases 10 days out. And in reality, the bigger the gap is, the colder that lead gets. Because it's not just about the time itself passing, it's about what the time does to the urgency that made them want to reach out in the first place. Because at the end of the day, when someone fills out a form or picks up the phone to call you, they're never doing it because they're bored, right? They're doing it because something hurt badly enough that they decided, okay, this needs to get fixed now. And what you need to remember is that if you're not moving quickly on that feeling, then you're giving that urgency time to disappear. Now, on the surface, booking a meeting 5 days out doesn't seem like a big deal, right? And I've heard many sales managers tell me, oh, well, it's just a couple of days, right? But in reality, here's the thing that nobody actually talks about. Every single day between when they reach out to when you show up at their house is another opportunity for life to get in the way. For example, we've all been there, right? Their kid breaks their arm, or their car breaks down, or their boss calls in and says, hey, I need you to work late all week, right? And at the end of the day, real life is going to happen. And when it does, your appointment is going to drop way down that priority list. It's not because they don't care, right? It's because life just naturally is reprioritizing things for them. And the part that stings for you is that you've already paid for the lead, you've already won their attention, and the reality is that you just didn't move fast enough to actually capture the full win. Now, look, this isn't the case for every lead, but even if life doesn't throw a huge curveball their way, you see that kind of emotional urgency that actually made them reach out in the first place. Well, that starts to fade very, very quickly. Let me give you an example. So one night, your prospect is freezing in their house because, I don't know, their windows are shot and they're absolutely pissed. They go online, they fill out the form, but a few days later, the weather's warmer, right? And that cold that made them want to, give you a call doesn't actually impact them the same way, and life gets busy. And all of a sudden, fixing those windows that they reached out to you for just isn't as urgent anymore. And it's not that they, didn't actually stop needing your work. Instead, they just stopped feeling that same need that caused them to call you in the first place. So when you show up 8 or 10 days later, you're trying to close a deal with a completely different mindset than the one that existed when they first reached out. And that's not even counting how the odds start stacking up against you statistically. Think about it like this. If you set your meeting for tomorrow, then there's maybe 24 to 48 hours for life to get in the way and mess it up. Whereas if you set that same meeting 10 days out, now you've got 240 hours of what I call chaos potential. Therefore, the longer the window, the better the odds that something's going to pop up that actually derails the entire thing. It's pretty basic maths, right? And the further out that you book it, the more you're basically crossing your fingers and hoping that nothing's going to get in the way, which, if we're just going to be honest, is a terrible strategy to build your back-end revenue systems on, right? And let's even assume for a moment that life doesn't sabotage your meeting, right? There's still another threat that's sitting right there, and that's your competitors, right? If you think your homeowners are only reaching out to you, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you're wrong. They're filling out forms for 2, 3, 4, even 5 other companies. And for those companies that get there quickly, while that emotional urgency is still hot, they're going to have a way better shot at closing the deal before you even pull into the driveway. Meaning that you don't even get to lose the deal at the kitchen table. you lose the deal because you weren't at the kitchen table fast enough. Now, look, if you want to talk hard numbers, historically speaking, we found that appointments that are booked and run within the same day of an inquiry close at 50% or better all day long. But when you push that out even 3 days, your cancellation rates jump through the roof. I'm talking 40, 50, even 70% cancellation dates, depending on the lead source and how far out those bookings go. And what does that mean from a revenue standpoint? Well, if your average net sale per lead issued is $3,000, then every appointment that cancels or shows cold is going to cost you $3,000, right? And that's what we call a silent drain, because those numbers aren't exactly going to show up on your P&L sheet, but these are absolutely gutting your efficiency when it comes to your marketing spend. Now, on the flip side, here are what companies who are actually winning are doing differently. What they're doing is they build their calendars around urgency, not necessarily what's convenient. So they leave room for same day and next day appointments, even if it means kind of juggling around a little bit. And they are also making sure that every setter can see what the openings are in real time every single day. And they're pushing their teams to fill today's and tomorrow's slots before they even think about next week. Because if you know that the window is small, then you learn to treat urgency like ice in the sun. It's only going to get smaller, and once it's gone, it's gone. Now look, if you're consistently booking leads more than 72 hours out, then I'm going to cut the crap, you guys are bleeding revenue. And it's not because you need more leads, it's because your calendar isn't built to protect the ones you already have. So fix that and you'll start to see your close rates, your revenue per lead, and your marketing ROI all increase without spending a single extra dollar on ads. And if this was helpful, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. I post tactical breakdowns like this every week. And if you want a simple way to start fixing this inside your own company, I've put together a 72-hour lead recovery checklist that maps out exactly your daily moves that you need to put together to protect urgency, boost demo rates, and tighten that calendar flow. So you'll find a link below. It's free. It will show you exactly how to plug one of the biggest revenue leaks that most companies don't even realize they have. And of course, if you want to dig deeper about how to optimize your backend systems, then reach out. I'd be more than happy to point you guys in the right direction.